We are on the set of BITV with Stéphanie Bensimon, Head of Real Estate at Ardian at MIPIM 2026. Stéphanie, thank you for being with us on BITV.
Thanks for having me, Luc.
I am joined also by my colleague from CoStar News UK, Luke Haynes. Luke, also thank you to be with us.
Lovely to be here.
Maybe to start the discussion, we're at MIPIM, I said it, a lot has happened over the last few months, over the last year, since last MIPIM in terms of macroeconomic. How much appetite do you see among your investor clients for real estate in the current market environment?
Generally speaking, we've seen, especially this year, more traction, more dynamism around transaction, and you've seen that we've done a lot over the recent months. So there is a trend that a lot of investors want to deploy, especially in equity, in real estate. It's not back, but we feel it's really better, and there is a lot of interest from different parts of the globe.
You have not waited at Ardian for the rebound to come to make a lot of interesting acquisitions. Let me just name a few. In France and abroad, you have invested in student housing, in self-storage. You went to luxury real estate, luxury retail real estate, sorry. This morning, it was announced that Ardian had a new partnership with Abu Dhabi Investment Authority on secondary real estate. I have to ask, what are the main drivers of your investment strategy at the moment?
Look, we saw that during this moment of time, there is no rebound to wait. There is just a kind of dynamism that you need to bring. Like every crisis, there are opportunities, and we've seen that it's more structural change that really drives the transaction that we're doing. So when we speak, for example, about student housing, it's really because we really think that there is a need in continental Europe to develop this asset class. Same applies to self-storage, for example, because we think there is a case in Europe right now, especially when you take continental Europe, where there is a need to create the institutional product. And that's really where we believe there is this trend, this structural change that really drives the transactions. And obviously, because it's the context, you can imagine and you can innovate in the way you create deals. And that's what we've been trying to do, especially, for example, on retail, where we think it's really the moment to also invest. It's also a moment for us as a platform. You know, we've been in the real estate market for almost 10 years now, and we think it's really the moment where we can expand geographically. So US was definitely a place where we want to be for long term. And the current transaction was the first one to really enter the market. So it's really a strategic move. And because we are long-term, it's probably the right moment to think about this. Even though every day there is a news on the paper, there is the dynamics on the market that change. But again, the strategy that we are looking at are more driven by product, by the cash flows, rather than the interest rate movement, which obviously are dependent on what's going on the politics and the macro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, obviously you mentioned the deal in the US. I think it was a $900 million deal with carrying on New York's Fifth Avenue, obviously a prime spot. Just wanted to ask you what the strategy is for the US and the UK in terms of where maybe you see opportunities or what else you're looking to do in those locations.
Look, we've been thinking that we will be expanding in the US like we started in Europe, because that's our track record, that's what we know. And that's also the reason why we found that going to a prime location, where historically we've never really compromised on location, was a good bet. And I think we will continue to do that, trying to catch up on volume, because obviously if you go to Fifth Avenue and in the US especially, volume are much higher than Europe, so that's interesting for us. So that's really how we adapt to the market. Retail was also something that we found interesting, especially in New York right now, in the big cities. You've seen the big luxury, even though the market is in turbulence. are looking for the right spot, and so that's where we thought that was the right the right asset to start. So we will probably continue this year. Regarding UK, it's a very good question because we've been trying to find the angle for some moment right now. We've been, looking at many opportunities, but not yet found. But this is in the program as well. I think this is something that we really want to expand at some point of time. So we are very open on this.
For sure. And in terms of, I suppose, maybe something in the UK or an asset class that is looking appealing, are you able to give us any clues as to where you might go, whether it's retail again, like you've done in the US, or will it be a different approach?
Look, it's difficult to say. Last time I was in London, I heard a lot of good office deal, which obviously office is not the word that we can pronounce. But yeah, office, has been something that we know very well, that we've done in the past. So yeah, I mean, we are very agile. So we are now we have the chance to have expanded to many different sectors, whether it's living, industrial, or more mixed assets. So we will continue to do so as we see that appropriate depending on the countries.
Mm-hmm.
Stéphanie, before we let you go, I have to ask a question also about the news of the day. I mentioned it earlier, a new partnership with Abu Dhabi Investment Authority on secondary real estate. Can you tell us more? What's secondary real estate? What's that strategy? What you have at Ardian in mind for that new endeavor?
Yeah, as a group, Ardian has a big business in secondaries. This is our major business. We run more than 100 billion. And so we were present in infrastructure, in PE, etc. And real estate was really missing. So I think that was, given the context, given the need for liquidity on the market, given the fact that we are very present in secondary in the US, so that was the perfect timing for our secondaries team to really expand into the real estate. So we are very happy that we can also expand into this new business going forward.
Stéphanie Bensimon, Luke Haynes, thank you for being with us, and thank you all also for being with us, and we'll see you soon at MIPIM 2026 on BITV.